Tonight we have a very special movie night, which is a vampire night. Hopefully it doesn't suck like a vampire does.
It's
All right,
me,
It's-
Cansperatu.
Hey, what's up, guys? Tremain Hayhoe here. We have Uncanny here as a guest. I'm going to start this podcast saying this. I, as a filmmaker, I get recommended movies on a daily basis, literally on a daily basis, and a lot of times, multiple times a day. I get multiple movies that I haven't seen. Oh, you haven't seen this? Oh, you haven't seen that? Oh, why don't you go watch it? All right. I recently watched a movie my friend Uncanny recommended to me called Daybreakers. And this movie got me psyched about making movies again. This movie was better than anything I've seen in a long time that anyone has ever recommended to me. I'm going to start with that. It's movie night, guys. Let's go.
All right, I filed my
Amazing.
taxes in the time for that song to be over. Hey, man, I'm excited for tonight. This is fun. I watched Sinners, me and my wife, because she's my little buddy
Yes.
that I watch movies with, and we rewatched Daybreakers, and it is pun intended. It's like night and day.
Dude, it really is. I saw this movie and I'm like, I'm mad. I'm mad. Okay. And I'm not mad at you and I'm not mad at anybody else. I'm mad at myself for not knowing this movie exists. How did I not know? How did
No
I
one
not
talks
know?
about it.
No one talks about this movie. And I'm like, dude, we've got, I almost said Mark McGrath. It's not Mark McGrath. It's he always gets confused for Mark McGrath, of course. Why am I blanking on his name already? The star, Mark.
Ethan Hawke.
Ethan Hawke. Yes, Mark Ethan Hawke. Yeah, exactly. That's what I said. Yeah, Mark Ethan Hawke. Yeah. So Ethan Hawke, Willem Dafoe,
Sam Neill.
and Sam Neill from Jurassic Park. You cannot get three better, more gravitas type actors in one movie. And by the way, everyone else played an incredible role. Everyone else was awesome. I loved this movie from the second it started. From the second it started. This is how I always judge a movie. I say, like, hey, typically I can tell within 15 seconds if a movie's going to be good or not. That's a lie. It's actually about 3 seconds. If you give me 3 seconds, I know exactly this movie's going to be really good or not. This movie started off with a jump scare with a bat, like opening credits, and I jumped, and my cat jumped. My cat jumped. I'm not kidding. And I'm like, I was openly terrified watching this movie. I watched by myself. I'm home alone at my own house. Oh my gosh. But vampires, if you think, I think vampires have gotten soft in the coming years because we have
And
Twilight.
sparkly.
Sparkly, yeah, we had Twilight. We'll talk about Twilight later. You know, and it they become cute or they become hot, and it's like a weird. It becomes a weird thing. But if you think about actual vampires, that is a horrifying, terrifying
They're basically
experience.
demons walking around in human suits.
Yes, absolutely. And this movie showcased that incredibly. It also reminds me of another movie that doesn't get enough credit. It's dystopian and it's really well made. And it's the lower, it's like it's this weird mid-budget type range where they have a budget, obviously, but it's not a crazy budget, you know, but it's not no budget. So it's like some of the effects look a little bit, you know, dated, but they still can do whatever the heck they want to do. Equilibrium is another one that reminds me of this movie. Have you seen Equilibrium?
I haven't. That's gonna have to go on the list.
You got to, yeah, you got to watch that, and it's Christian Bale. Again,
Ooh.
it's a lot of heavy hitters. It's Christian Bale, Sean Bean from Lord of the Rings. I mean, come
Oh
on.
man.
I mean, come on. You know, like those two alone, and there's a couple others, but it
One
this
does
remind.
not simply watch Equilibrium.
This is very true. Yes, this is very true. Well, in this movie, dude, I stood up and clapped in my own living room by myself at this movie. I was,
Wow.
yeah, no, I'm no joke. I love this movie. I loved this movie, and it was so. I like how gung ho it is. It's very. It goes for it, right? It goes for the jump scares were like I had visceral reactions like oh crap like you know like
Or like even like when the all right, when are we gonna do spoiler alerts? Because this movie's kind of hard to talk about without just jumping into it.
well that's true. Well, let's wait a little bit and then get into spoiler.
Okay.
Okay.
But
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
even with like the you know the vampires that have the blood hunger, like the long blood hunger, like even when you first see them and like they jump onto screen, you're like because most of the vampires look like humans in this movie, right? Like and I love this movie because it's so smart in that it treats vampires like real living things as opposed to like some sort of weird unintelligible like dark horror. And then you get to that blood deprived vampire and you're just like what the shit is that?
Right. Yeah, yeah.
And even the
Yeah.
main character's like what the shit.
Dude, oh yes, I have lines written down we'll get to later. But it's like, dude, yeah, there were a lot of one-liners in this movie where I'm like I love it's everything about watching movies that I love where
William Defoe rocked it in this movie.
oh my
He did such a
gosh.
great job.
Dude, his intro alone was the most epic intro. And again, I gave myself a standing ovation, or not myself, but gave him a standing ovation in my own living room. His intro to a movie, like I didn't know it was him. I didn't know it was him. What did he talk about? He's like, oh yeah, do you know how vampires get their start? You know, whatever he does, he tells a story, and it's this ominous, shadowy figure. We have Ethan Hawke show up broad daylight as a vampire, by the way. And I love all that, the shadows and everything, like the lights beaming in because he can die. He could die in the
It
daylight.
made a lot of sense. Like and it's and no, and I love it too. Like the scene when they're going walking around the tree, right? And he's like very careful to stay at like the base and like walking over the roots and stuff. And the thing I like about Willem Dafoe's character too is that he starts off mysterious and kind of badass, and then he like becomes like a real character, and he's like he doesn't take himself so seriously. I mean, he still is badass. Like he has his basically incendiary crossbow,
Okay,
right?
yeah. So dude, I love this line. They go, who are? Oh wait, by the way, who are you guys? And he's like, we're the mother effers with the crossbows. It's like, need you say more, right? He's like, he had the best one-liners in this movie, and he just demands and commands
What was it?
his presence.
I can go for some barbecue.
Yeah, dude. No, yeah, no, yeah. And he goes, he's like, yeah, you got hit by sunlight. He's like, how did that feel? How that, how do you think it feel? It felt like being goddamn fried chicken, you know. And it's and I love that again. Like this is what movies are for, where you get these visceral characters that have these reactions and I just had a great time with this movie. And then there's high stakes in it. It's creepy as all hell. It is terrifying. It really is, if you think about this. And also, it's probably more relevant today than it was when it came out, because I looked at it. It came out 2010.
Yep.
Okay. So it came out in 2010. And it's like, dude, after a virus has attacked the world. Oh, where have we seen that, guys? Where have we seen that? Sorry, where? I can't think of
People
anywhere.
freaking out over supplies of stuff. For them it's blood, and for us it was toilet paper and hand sanitizer.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but which is like the same thing, pretty much. It's like,
You wipe your butt with blood? It's all come making sense now,
yeah.
Tremain.
Well, no, I wipe my hands with blood. I don't know. I don't know where that was gonna go. Yeah. So like Daybreakers, guys, Daybreakers. It's on
It's good.
TV. It's It's. I'm not even gonna say it's good. It's fantastic. The movie is incredible. Like the movie. I was pumped watching this movie because there's real characters, there's real stakes, there's real things that happen, and there's several times where I'm like, "Holy f," "Holy s." There's like some really jarring moments in this movie, and you can see this happening. I mean, I don't know. I mean, hopefully,
and
it
and
doesn't.
and the other thing too is the I like the characters because one, they don't do anything. Because one of the things that really bugs me, and we'll get into this when we talk about Sinners, is that
Oh, I can't wait to talk about Sinners. By the way, oh, yeah.
it's like, and I have some nuanced opinions on Sinners. Believe it or not, I do have some positives to say.
Good.
Unfortunately, it delves into the negatives pretty hard too. But like, characters act like they have a personality. They have arcs. They act logically like how their personality would act, and nobody does anything stupid for the sake of the plot. Right? Like, it doesn't mean nobody makes mistakes or like things don't happen, right? Like, but there's not a spot where they need William Defoe to die. So William Defoe like forgets that he has a crossbow and then just gets killed, right? Like, that doesn't happen because his character would not do that, right? Or like Ethan Hawke doesn't do like he doesn't like do some sort of uncharacter, because like Ethan Hawke's character, right? Like, he obviously he has bravery, but he is on the more reserved and kind of meekish side, right? That's a conflict with him and his brother, because his brother's like a human hunter, right? And but like Ethan Hawke doesn't at some point go full Rambo and start destroying rooms full of people, right? Because it's not who he is. Like, he's a scientist.
And exactly, and it showed every single, like the Humvees, seeing the Humvees that are covered, and the fact that they had video screens on their vehicles. That was so cool. And when you think about it today, it's such future forward thinking about how vehicles are. I mean, I'm in my friend's Tesla the other night, and it's like, oh, we got a video camera, on the whole screen. They're videoing all like three different angles or four different angles, like the front, the back, side to side, and that's the future. So from
Yeah.
2010, which it came out, and I'm like, dude, how the hell did this movie come out? I'm so mad at myself for not knowing this movie.
It did not get any traction. Like I watched this when I was young, right? And I remember liking it, and then I didn't watch it for like 15 years until like I think a year or two ago, and I showed it to my wife. And uh but it's weird. Like it doesn't get mentioned. There's no memes about it. Like it's like it didn't exist unless you were there to see it.
How did you watch it back in the day? Do you know?
I watched it with my dad because he was into vampires and zombies and stuff, right? So
As one does, as one is, right? But that is the thing, though. It that maybe it's something because I have personally, I the whole vampire thing. It's intriguing. I've never been super into it though. Is my thing, and I've
yeah,
never
same here.
yeah, exactly. Like I've never actively, oh, I need to see a vampire movie. It's like zombies. I'm interested more in vampires than zombies. Zombies. That's a whole nother topic for another podcast. How I am with zombies. People are like, oh my god, have you seen The Walking Dead? I'm like, no, I don't watch soap operas with zombies. But you know what I mean. It's like vampires are intriguing because they can only come out at night. They've got fangs. They turn into bats. There's some
And they're
cool things,
smart.
and they're smart. Yeah, and I love the contact lenses everyone was wearing, and then they're having these board meetings, and it's just like visually, this movie is stunning. This movie is visually stunning, and what you notice about how they light the actors. So if you overly light actors, that's The Godfather, right? So it's like above. I can actually do this right now. Let's do this right now. I'm gonna show you guys. I'm gonna give you guys a little bit of a lighting lesson here
Ah,
on movie night, the night where we talk about movies and also like
and learn some insider secrets in the trade.
exactly. So okay, so The Godfather, for example, is like this, right? So
It's like
I'll
classic turn of the century noir kind of overhead light stuff.
right. So it's overhead light. So this is The Godfather. I'm wearing my hat. I took my hat off. There's my bald head. So it's like, you know, hey, how you doing? What are you doing? Come
You
here.
come to me on the
Come here.
day of my daughter's wedding.
Come here. The day of my daughter's wedding. You expect me to do something, right? So it's like, okay, so that's overhead lighting. Now we got this.
That's
So
like horror movie lighting.
and this is vampire. This is exactly what Daybreakers was. The lighting. If you look at the lighting and the characters, so why is this 100 times more creepy? I mean, it's me, so it's already creepy no matter what. But
No comment, buddy.
exactly. Thank you. But like for this, it's like they shadow the eyes. I was like, why are you doing this to my dog? But like for this, it's like, hey, how's it going? Right. So it is that under lighting, and you see that in this movie Daybreakers, and then there's like comedy lighting where everything's evenly lit, whatever. But you have Daybreakers where there's a lot of scenes where the lighting comes from underneath, right? So that's automatically off-putting, right? So most audience members won't know why it is how it is, right? But
But
that's
your
just
brain knows.
your brain knows exactly. Your brain registers that way, and it had. I want to know more about these filmmakers that made this movie. There were.
I didn't recognize them
I
when
didn't either.
I was kind of keeping my eye out.
Yeah, I didn't either, and it's a brother duo, to my understanding, it's a brother duo, and which makes me think like, oh wow, that's really cool. I mean, these brothers are making this, and it said, yeah, let's look it up real quick as I adjust my hat here. Okay, here we go. Okay, hello everyone. If you guys are here, say hi. Don't be shy. Even I don't care if you're an introvert. Say hi. Don't be shy.
And throw a like up there.
Yeah, throw a like, comment, subscribe. Guys, we are getting better every single time with this Movie Day podcast. But so Daybreakers, okay. So I guess it came out 2009. Huh. In the year 2019, a plague. The year 2019. Think about it.
Wow, that's pretty
I
spot on.
know. I know. A plague has transformed almost every human into vampires. Faced with a dwindling blood supply, the fractured dominant race plots their survival. Meanwhile, a researcher works with a covert bands of vamps on a way to save humankind. Okay, so it's the Spearig brothers. The Spearig brothers. Okay,
Yeah, I'd never heard of them before.
I
I
haven't
don't.
either. I haven't either. Okay. Oh, interesting. So they made. Let me see. Uh, oh, they're German. A couple of German guys. You know, the movie. The thing is, this movie. Every shot I'm looking at this movie, I'm like, dude, they don't make movies like this anymore. It's like they took big swings everywhere they went. They took big swings, and I credit them for that.
This movie is unlike any other zombie movie or any other vampire movie I've ever watched, and that's one reason why I distinctly remember it, even though I watched it, 15 years ago or something.
Well, again, and
Um,
and I, and I give you all the credit in the world because, dude, I get recommended movies all the time, and I'm always like, okay, oh yeah, that's a good movie. That it's like, yeah, but I've never been blown away by a movie like I was with this one, and I thank you so much, Uncanny, for your recommendation because I had a blast watching this movie. But
and it's only an hour, like about an hour and what, 35 minutes.
it's an hour and 35 minutes. It's an easy sit down. It's on Tubi TV. There were some advertisements which did break it up a bit. That's fine. That's okay. It's not that big of a deal. But
But it
I've got
was
it.
not wasted. There was no wasted time in the movie, and the pacing was great. Like there wasn't a point. Yeah, you know how in some movies, like especially kind of a lot of modern ones, but I mean this happened even back in the day, right? It's like you're watching it, you're like an hour deep, and you're like, what is going on? What is happening? Why are these who are these people? What are they
Who,
doing? Like what is the
right. Yeah.
plot here?
Yeah. Who are these people? What are they doing? Why do I care? Why should
Yes.
I care? I'm always asking that. Like everyone is always asking, that, why should I care about these characters? And now this movie had several characters that you care about. You have Ethan Hawke and his brother. So his brother comes in, crashes the party. Hey, can you have some wine? Have a drink with me, but it's not wine; it's human blood, real human
Pure
blood.
grade A
Yeah,
human.
yeah. So I love that undertone of everything, right? Where they're talking about drinking, but they're not talking about drinking.
Like
And
people put in their coffee, like it's just I love the mundanity of it, right? In a sense of like we always, whenever you think of vampires and you think of like human blood, right? It's always just a tool for them to go basically hunting or something, right? Or like a moral thing, like with Blade, right? Blade refuses to drink human blood because he doesn't want to be a monster, and that's kind of like the that's the admitted giving into the beast. But the blood is like it is all encompassing in this movie, right? The entire plot is around it, and yet it's so mundane. It's like this dude is wearing a trench coat and going to his job, and he stops at the coffee stand where he gets his blood so he doesn't go crazy.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And they had foreshadowing. They had epic foreshadowing where they're like, hey, this is what vampires look like if they don't have blood, if they don't have human blood. This is how they digress. And then these people are also starting to harm the actual people. And so that's like an overlying issue about other things that we don't have to necessarily talk about right now. But it's like it has so many different things, and because it made sense because you love Gattaca.
Oh yeah.
This movie is a lot like Gattaca. I felt like a lot of Gattaca vibes from this movie. What do you feel about that?
I told my wife, I made this joke. I said, "Poor Ethan Hawke, in what he's either way, he's bound by his biology. On the one hand, because of his inferior genes, and the other one because he of his vampire plague." Like that's
Yes.
literally just Ethan Hawke both times is like trying to use something to get over this insane hurdle that's dictating like his life.
Yeah, well, totally. And I like that about his character because he's conflicted. He's the main character, you care about him, but he's also the whole scene, there's the crash with the humans, and then he helps the humans, and the humans are ready to get him, but he's like, "No." I guess okay, let's
Let's
just
do.
talk.
Can we do a
Let's just get into
spoiler
spoilers.
alert?
Yeah, yeah, we're going to spoiler territory, guys. Yeah, we're going to spoiler territory. Let me plug in my mic real quick. I'm here, but yeah, guys, spoiler territory. But again, watch no matter what. If you're gonna stay on just for no reason, but you know, it's yeah, just know it's worth watching. Daybreakers is completely worth watching, whether we spoil it for you guys tonight or not. It's
It's
worth
an
watching.
experience. You
It
won't
is.
get the full picture from just listening to us talk about it.
It's a lot of fun to watch, and I had a blast watching it. And honestly, I'm gonna watch it again. I can't wait to watch it again. And that is something that I think it will influence me as a director. That will influence this movie will influence me big time.
Wow. All right.
Yeah,
Now I'm getting a little bit proud of myself here.
you should be honestly. You really should be because again, dude, I get recommended. Dude, I get recommended. I got recommended 3 movies today. 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 Oh, you need to watch. Oh, you haven't watched this. Here, watch this. You haven't watched this. Watch this. You know what I mean? And then for me, oh, you call yourself a filmmaker and you haven't seen XYZ ABC. It's like, all right, dude, I've
All
seen
right.
probably,
Thanks.
yeah, I've probably seen 20,000 movies that you haven't seen that most people that are recommending me movies, like, oh,
Well,
you haven't seen,
that's me too.
yeah, but, but I mean, but that is the thing though. It's like, again, I'm mad at myself for not even knowing that this movie existed before I was recommended it. I have to get this, dude. I have to get this like uh, thing off my nose.
All right. Can I do a brief overview just to set it up so that people have a little more context for
Yes,
the
absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely.
All right. So long high level, high altitude kind of look at the plot of what's going on. So this vampire virus breaks out. It doesn't tell you how, it doesn't matter. But most of the world becomes vampires or they become
Wait.
hunters.
Sorry. Real quick. It says it comes from a bat, which I
Oh,
will say
okay.
that, which is crazy.
So literally, it's like the kung flu or
Kung Flu.
the the bat flu that we all suffered
Yeah,
for years. So
exactly.
so this virus either turns humans into vampires or humans get basically captured and put into giant blood farms, right? So all the humans basically become either they submit to being a vampire or they get turned into basically what amounts to like factory farm for blood. So now it's not like the society doesn't actually break down, which is interesting, which kind of the premise here is actually vampires build a whole new society based around basically being vampires. So they come up with technology to deal with being out in the daytime, but they mostly live in the night or walk underground. Like they have apartments with like sheet, like basically blackout curtains, right? Like they have these blood farms because the blood is the thing that's the only thing they eat, right? And they even say like they'll some people will eat like animal blood, right? Like the main character eats pig blood. But they're running out of even animals because animals can be turned into vampires too. So then this is 10 years after what's happening in the movie is 10 years after this whole thing happens. And they're at a point where there were so many people that either died or were turned into vampires that the population of humans is dwindling to near nothing, which I puts a twist here. And this is one reason I love this movie so much. Usually vampires, like in Sinners, right, or like in most vampire movies, is vampires are like this impossible beast, gentlemen beasts of the night, and they're like super strong and everyone's afraid of them. In this movie, the humans are actually absolutely afraid of them. But the irony is, we see the weakness, and when we feel the impending doom, it's not just because the humans are going extinct. It's because vampires are about to go extinct. And so it's
Yes.
this reversal of you're seeing it's like you're seeing everything through the eyes of vampire society. And they're basically extinction level cataclysm because they've overfarmed the humans. Hi, kitty.
By the way, we
Oh,
got my vampire right here. Hi, Momo. Hello, Momo.
oh, she's so chunky.
What do you mean chunky? She's not chunky at all. Look at her. She is not.
Hey, I saw that gut. Okay,
There's
all right.
no
There's no
gut.
there's no extinction level food
Calling the kettle
issue.
black, uncanny. Look, do you see a
Ah.
gut? No, there's no gut. Well, maybe a little bit. Okay, no, that's her leg. That's her leg.
Oh, what a
I,
good kitty.
she's awesome. She's incredible, guys. Guys, hit that like button for Kitty Moo.
And so long story short, you're seeing this basically race to extinction both for humans and for vampires as the vampires hunt down the last of the humans. And by the end of the movie, once again, I love
Spoiler
this,
alert.
right?
Spoiler. Yeah.
Spoiler. But by the end of the movie, everyone, every single person, vampire, is on the verge of turning into a monster because of lack of blood. And you see it visibly. They don't announce it from the skies and the heavens. It's just everyone's ears start to grow longer, which is a sign. Everybody starts to look anxious and on edge, like their eyes start to turn a little crazy and bloodshot. It is the perfect masterclass of the gradual change of the environment and the characters in a show me don't tell me.
Well, yes, and then think about it this way: in a culture where what happens if money runs out? What happens if food runs out? What are people going to do when they're hungry? What do people do when they're hungry? They're right. They'll probably do stuff like this. So it becomes a real allegory. And look at 2020. What happened in 2020? I mean, are you joking me? This movie is far ahead of its time, and they predicted it pretty well. They said 10 years in advance. Okay, it came out in 2009, I guess. Let's talk about 2019. Oh my God, they're 1 year away. But like, luckily, people didn't turn into vampires, but they kind of did, though. I don't know. I don't know. In a lot of ways. So
Shut in
that
vampires.
yeah. So that's why it's like for a vampire movie, especially to me, it's always like, how believable is this? How right? If it's too ridiculous, if it's too out there, if they're sparkling like diamonds, like Twilight, and then they're living forever, and then he's 100 and some years old, and then he's going out with a 16-year-old girl. So there's some questionable things.
Yeah.
So- Excuse me. Sorry. But as soon as you think about something like Twilight, as soon as you think about it,
It makes no.
it
It's
makes no
gone.
sense.
It's
Right.
like
It's gone.
so there's this ancient like vampire government, and like the real world doesn't know anything about it. It's like, listen, my man. Like at least in Harry Potter, they have this excuse of like, well, we we just use magic on people's brains so they forget. And you're like, well, I guess in the universe that makes sense. Like,
That
why
does,
couldn't you
yeah.
do that? But
Right.
like in this and like in Twilight, it's like, well, wait a second. Well, how do you have a government of like ancient Italian vampires? They just go what? Go running around Rome and nobody sees them. One of the most populous, well traveled and like touristy area in the world, and nobody's seeing these red eyed freaks running around sucking blood and stuff. Like, but like this world makes sense, right? Because like when I and the allegory is so interesting because everything is in some ways so mundane, right? Like there's a scene where, and this is what I mean by like each of the characters makes sense and there's like character arcs is so his brother, right? His brother, he loves being a vampire and he turned Ethan Hawke against his will. That was
Hmm.
like a big thing, and they both love each other, you can tell they do,
Right.
but he basically stole his humanity away. And the brother didn't do it because he was mean. He did it because he saw the writing on the wall. My brother's going to be going to the blood bank or the blood farm if he doesn't become a vampire, right? But then there's a scene where basically the vampire military takes over because so many people have turned into monsters from lack of blood. They chain up these monsters, And there's Sam Neill's daughter, who he's like obsessed with trying to turn, right, so that she can be powerful with him, right? He gets his Ethan Hawke's brother to turn her against her will, just like he did to his brother. And then he sees her as a deformed vampire monster being dragged into the sunlight and being exploded into fire, right? And you see them lock eyes, and it's like this is when that the brother, he's who's already kind of having doubts, right? He sees like this girl was a vampire just like me because I forced her to be, and now she's being exploded into flame. And also, that's the fate that we're all rushing towards because we're all running out of blood. And it's just like it's just so it's so good, right? It's like on so many levels that and it works for the character, right? Like he starts off as a headstrong kind of like, you know, that he knows what he did was wrong, but he's too stubborn to admit it. And then he ends up basically saying like, no, I understand this was wrong. I don't know.
But by the way, Sam Neill is masterful in this movie. I think this is the best acting he's ever done. I mean, he's great in everything he does, everything he's in. But
Oh yeah.
Sam Neill, if you look at Jurassic Park, obviously he's great. Dr. Hammond, right? Or he
Yeah.
he is so good in this movie as the
Or Event
bad guy.
Horizon, that's another good one too.
Yeah, Event Horizon is a great one, but he's got the cigar and he's got the cigar going. He's talking about like he's asking these leading questions to Ethan Hawke's character, and he goes, he's like, "Oh, you love your family, don't you? Don't you? Like you love doing this, right?" And dude, it is so good, and the way he
Yes.
does it, it's so. I was glued to the screen. This movie is so fun, and it is something that it seemed like they had a really good time with. And dude, there are some explosions in this. There's people that get thrown into the water, and there's underwater shots that are really cool. There's the Humvee chase scene,
Oh
and
yeah.
there's the Humvee
Or
chase
the
scene. Oh
battle at
my god.
night.
Yeah, and dude, and then I wrote it down. I gotta bring it up. William Dafoe's character, of course. Willem Dafoe's character, after this big long chase scene, he goes, "Everybody okay?" He's like, it's just like this crazy long chase scene. They cross this bridge. The other people can't. The Humvees can't cross the bridge. They fall into the water. They blow up. And he's like, he's on the other side. He's like, everybody okay? So, this movie, it you guys gotta watch Daybreakers. Watch Daybreakers. That is the best.
And there's
Oh, The River
no.
Wild is another great movie. That's a great movie. Trevor Harris in the building. What's up, Trevor? Hello, hello,
Hey
hello.
Trevor. Yeah, and the other thing too about Sam Neill in this movie as the villain, right? Is like I love how it just kind of peels back, right? So like when you first get introduced to him, he is like, now obviously it's horrific that like because it keeps showing the blood farm, right? And there's less
Right? Yeah,
and
yeah.
there's less and less humans in it over time, which is
Hmm.
another really good subtle detail. But I love how when he's first on the scene, he's like the average I'm a good guy corporate board leader or CEO, right? He's like, we are trying to find a substitute to preserve humans and to save the vampires from this blood crisis, right? And
Yes.
then you learn he got turned into a vampire in order to save his life because he had cancer.
Right, exactly. Yeah, he
And,
gives the monologue and he talks about his daughter, and then he talks about how he told his daughter that he had cancer,
and he
essentially.
wanted more time with her.
Yeah.
But then as you keep peeling back these layers, right? So on the surface, he's like, I'm a corporate public servant trying to help the greater good. And then it's, well, I was had this sob story and I just loved my daughter and I wanted to have more time with her. And then it gets to no. And then he does like the monologue with it towards the end, right? When Ethan Hawke's already a human again. And
Hmm.
and he's talking about the power and how he loves the power of being basically an alpha predator as a vampire. And he loves the power that he has with his like being in control of this major company and like being the blood people that like it's not like the whole time you're like it's the shifting of kind of like peeling back of motivation until finally you just see at the base of this onion is just his unadulterated love of power.
Right, and he's slowly but surely, you get that inkling like, okay, this guy's probably a bad guy, right? But he's the boss, you know. It's like he's probably good, but you know, but again, they all have the eyes, they got the vampire teeth, and I like how they're having these board meetings. They're talking about stuff. There's smoke, the angles in the cinematography, everything about this movie. It also reminded me of Minority Report a bit because it's semi-futuristic, so it's futuristic and it's a futuristic company. It's like Minority Report plus Gattaca plus vampires, right? So I dude,
Well, and
this
there's
movie,
this mystery of like, how did William Defoe become human again? Right? Because like everyone is like, this should be impossible.
right? Yeah, yeah, dude. And they show the clip, and I still don't even know. I still don't even know how he actually did because he was out in the sun for a while, then he fell into the
So I
water.
it took me a few times of watching it, and I finally kind of understood what was happening. So when the vampires get exposed to sun, and there's a subtle line that you can easily miss in this when they're talking about it later at the winery. And so when vampires get exposed to sun, basically all of their cells burst into flames, right?
Right?
and
Yeah.
and so it's
I
like a
gathered. I
cellular
gathered
level.
that. I gathered that. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So what happens is though is that so Ethan Hawke says that he tried to expose vampiric blood to UV lighting, right? And
Mm,
his aim was to, I mean, Ethan Hawke ultimately wanted a cure, but his aim was to create a substitute, right? So if you can harvest vampire blood, blast it with UV, maybe you can cure the vampirism and make it digestible blood.
right.
Um, and so there's this line where he says basically, so maybe the blood needs to be in the body for it to work. And the point, so the whole water thing was William Defoe got exposed to an immense amount of sunlight really quick and it burned the shit out of him. Pardon my French. But then he splashed in the water that put out the fire. And so his cells got enough UV to cure the vampirism, but he didn't burst into flames all the way and die.
Gotcha. Okay, so that's why when they did that for Ethan Hawke's character, that they put him out pretty much right away. They set him on fire, then
Yes.
put him out right.
They
Okay.
they sucked all the oxygen out so that you can't have fire. They put the wet towel on him to try and dampen the flame, but so that they could keep exposing him to UV in order to cleanse the vampirism, but not have him explode. Basically,
And that's the thing is you have to have some type of suspension of disbelief in a
yeah.
movie,
Well, of
right? So,
course.
yeah, of course, yeah, yeah. It's a vampire movie, right? But it has to be believable. I saw Nosferatu. Okay, guys, we're gonna watch Nosferatu. Well, no, I already watched Nosferatu, and I don't have to watch it again. But
Hey, you already told me about one bad vampire movie that I watched tonight or yesterday. So,
yeah,
what
well,
we talking about tonight?
exactly, yeah. This other Nosferatu one where it didn't I didn't buy it at all because the main vampire was so creepy, scary that you just don't buy into the whole story. This whole story, you buy into it. You buy into it. Ethan Hawke's character is a vampire, but he's torn because he wants to find a cure and he wants people to be human again. And he goes, "Oh, what did he say?" There was a great line. He goes, "Just another day." What did he say? Uh, okay, I wrote it down. I gotta get it right. Oh no, he goes. Oh, I didn't write this one. I actually didn't write this
I'm
one
so
down.
glad that you at least did take notes because I just kind of going off of watching it a few times. So
Yeah, no, he goes. Just another day of living, or no. He's like, no, oh darn it, I'm gonna butcher it. I don't want to butcher it. It's
all
it's
right,
it's
get to the point. I'll see if I can find the exact
he
quote.
he basically says another day of living, or another day of everlasting living. Another day in paradise, or this day sucks, but I can't die. Essentially, is what he says. It's see, again.
There
I'm butchering it, but
there is there is a line. I don't know if it's the same one, but there is a line where they're drinking the blood, like for his birthday, and he's like, "There's no point to celebrating my birthday. I've been celebrating. Was it my 35th birthday for 10 years or something like that?
Yes, I
Is
like
that the
that. Yeah.
one?
No, that isn't the one. But he says he's like, yeah, I was celebrating my 35th birthday for 10 years. What does it matter? I've celebrated this. Birthdays don't matter anymore because I'm 35
Because you
forever.
are immortal, basically."
Yeah, he's immortal. And then oh yeah, he's like another day. Uh, another day. Uh, I gotta Google it then. Line Ethan Hawke.
The writing was very good in this, and not just
The
because of like the subtlety of like the lines, but like you said, there a lot of them are so memorable and like they really hit you. Like it's not just words for words sake.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, again, and they stood out. So the other ones, okay, we'll get to the other ones where he goes. So, okay, I'm going to confession for this, Trevor. Trevor's watching this, but so Willem Dafoe goes. He's like being a human in a world of vampires. This is about to save his bareback in a $5 horror.
That line was just too much, man. I was like, William Defoe's the perfect, like he is the quintessential like badass of the trailer park, right?
Yeah. He gets away with saying it. I mean, he's incredible. Like he just said it, and he takes it so seriously, and I'm laughing out loud. This is hilarious. This is so funny, and it's true. His line is very true. And then another line is like Ethan Hawke's character asks him, he's like, what did it like? Feel, what did it feel like getting hit by the sun? He's like, what did you think it felt like? It felt like being a piece of goddamn fried chicken. Yeah, it's you know what I mean. It's like, yeah, what do you
it's
think it felt like, asshole?
I love it because like so as I've told you before, I come from a long, maybe proud line of kind of working class like white trash people, and like my dad was super smart. Like he read all the time, and like he easily, if he had applied himself, he easily could have had like a PhD or something if he'd kind of mellowed out his life. But like my dad had all this really blue collar wisdom because he worked construction and he worked like he made a lot of mistakes in life. So I mean, like my dad used to say stuff like, "Life is hard. It's even harder when you're stupid." Right? Like,
Yeah, well, which is true. That's
which
a
is
true
it's
statement.
very true.
It is true.
And
Yeah.
it's like I kind of get that. I love his character because I get that vibe of like, and William Defoe plays it. He plays it perfect, right? Like he's not just a joker. Like he is a badass MNFer, but he also has just these hilarious lines that he just does so dry.
Yeah, and he does it without effort either. Like this actor, I can legitimately watch him do anything, and it's like he's just him making a sandwich. I'm glued. I'm just he has that it factor. If you
Spider
look at
Man.
Spider Man, I'm something of a scientist myself, right? He can do literally anything, and I'm all in for it. And again, when you told me the movie, I'm like, oh no, I haven't seen this vampire movie, Daybreakers, never even heard of it. And I'm like, okay, Ethan Hawke, Sam Neill, and Willem Dafoe. And I
I think it's
don't
just kind of
know.
crazy. It's that this movie isn't more popular, and it's
And I
kind of
didn't know
crazy
this
we
movie.
got so
Well,
many
we're
big
making
names.
it popular right now, guys. Guys, go
Yes.
watch Daybreakers on Tubi TV. It's free to watch. Watch a couple ads. Yeah, the thing is, Alan um, talks about not a big fan of horror movies or vampire movies, and I'm not a big fan of vampire movies anyway. But I am a
Yeah,
fan
yeah, me
of movies.
neither. Like, and that's why, like, I mean, here's the thing, right? Is like, I'm not a big zombie person either, but I will tell anybody and their brother they should watch 28 Days Later
Okay,
because
I'm glad you didn't say
that
The Walking Dead
particular
because I'm glad you didn't say The
no,
Walking Dead because yeah,
I've never seen The
I've
Walking
tried
Dead.
Walking the Dead, and I'm like, this is a soap
I would
opera.
rather just watch like a post apocalyptic show than like a zombie one because
Right, but
they
yeah,
it,
well, 28 days later, this is what it does because zombie that is a horrific thing. If you think about a loved one turning into a zombie, if you actually think about that for a second, that is horrific. And 28 days later does that really well. You find loved ones that they're turning, and you don't want them to be a zombie, obviously. But if you think about that as a reality, that is horrifying. That is
well,
absolutely horrifying.
and they play it well because it's like so Cillian Murphy, right, who's also one of my favorite actors.
He's
Um,
great. Yeah.
he does he is just spot on. Like every movie that I've watched with him, he has played his role great. But you know, it's like he wakes up after this kind of like car crash induced coma thing, right? And so like the world was normal before that, and then everything has changed. The streets are all empty, like. But like in that scene where he goes into the church, and that's where he finds the zombies,
Hmm.
right? Because they're hiding during the day, basically. And but like they're like feral beasts. They're not just like slow shuffling, like ooh. Like these things are like, dude. If that happened to me, well, one, I'd be dead because I'm fat and
Well,
I'm not good at cardio. But two, like, even if I did survive right long enough to be scared, I would be scared completely. I'd be like, dude, how do you live in a world with these things? Like they're hunters. They are basically like infectious tigers that can use hands.
yeah, in Daybreakers, it had several jump scares within the first 30 minutes where I was viscerally scared. I was scared. Like from the get-go. It just started. And I'm like, "Oh, whoa. Like this is not what I expected." It went for it. And they had visceral scares. Like they really went for it. And I haven't I rarely get that. I really rarely get that in a
And you
movie.
know what part of that is that it, and this is the same reason why I bring it back a little bit to Daybreakers, right? Is the bad guy, right? Which, by the way, I love 28 days later because there's multiple bad guys. There's like the zombies, right, which are all like a evil big threat. Then there's also like the military guys at the end, right? But it nobody does something that is just stupid for the sake of making the plot happen,
Right.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. The whole plot is it's a smart plot. It doesn't take the audience as idiots, which that's my whole complaint about Marvel movies because they just think everyone's an idiot, which maybe they are if they like Marvel movies. But uh just gotta
Oh,
just
throwing out the
gotta just gotta throw
fiery
out the
opinions
little
already, huh?
yeah, just a little subtext of fire. But this movie it's a clever movie. It's a movie for civilized moviegoers and movie lovers. It really is. And Lost Boys, Trevor, that is another good movie. I haven't seen it in a
That's a
long time.
classic.
That is a
Yeah.
classic movie, though. Absolutely, absolutely classic vampire film. And yeah, when you look at vampire films, again, going back to what I was saying earlier, because when did Twilight come out? I feel like Twilight came out before
I
Daybreakers,
was
right?
well, the movies came out I think around what, 2008, 2009?
Yeah. So 2009 is when Daybreakers came out. So it's like, dude, how did Twilight, this stupid saga that is
Because it's a teenage girl soap opera. That's
it's
basically what it is.
it's grossed $3.36 billion. What?
Listen,
Oh.
when you've seen the kind of book sales that 50 Shades of Grey, which by the way was originally a Twilight fan fiction. Um when you see that kind of
Do you see
sales,
my face
nothing
right here? By
surprises.
the way, I know I can't see your face, but do you see my face?
Oh, I'm watching the whole time like a hawk, my
Okay.
friend.
Okay. Cool.
No, but you know, and with Daybreakers is like there's also something that's very interesting, right? It's like um it has like the metaphor is not so on the nose that like you absolutely know exactly what the blood is, right? Like the blood could be any number of things. It could be oil, it could be wealth, it could be food, whatever. But there is one part that's really interesting, which is, um, and this part's a little bit on the nose, maybe. Maybe they just want to make sure it's sold, right? Like people were definitely getting this idea. the horrific monster things that were civilized quote unquote vampires, but without blood for long enough, right? Like the bat monster version. Like those things are dangerous, and they absolutely will kill you. But they were like they're like a month's worth of starved vampire that like like Ethan Hawke, right? When the first one breaks in, and he says that guy was the local gardener, and like you hit that like this isn't a dumb monster movie, right? This is like no, the monsters are basically deprived people, like the lowest rungs of society, and like they become monsters, right? Like they didn't start out as monsters. I mean, you could argue that vampires in total in general are monsters, but like they were civilized. They Ethan Hawke knew this guy. He was married.
Yeah, 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 and again, the with his brother, his boss, the humans, they're all relationships that you see that he could be having, and it's a complicated thing. It's not gray area. It's not black and white. It's not something that these characters are these generic characters. Oh, you're the jock, you're the nerd, it's each it was like a film noir. It's kind of like it's a film noir essentially, this movie, because they got the crazy lighting, he's got the hat, Ethan Hawke
Everyone's
has got
dressed up in suits, and there's
yeah,
kind of like
yeah,
mystery. And
yeah, they're in suits. It's a mystery. It's again, it's horror, but it is scary, and it is not afraid to go where it wants to go. And I rarely see that. Typically, if you look at any going back to Marvel movies, just bashing them for another time for no reason, the the
your favorite pastime?
yeah, exactly. So it's like, we use the stones to destroy the stones. Like, okay, this is the dumbest line I've ever heard of. There's no line like that in this movie where you're buying into this world. Like, it seems real, and I'm like, oh my gosh, 2020 happened. Maybe people can become vampires, or you know what I mean. It's like the way you buy into the world, and that's exactly what a good movie does. You buy into that world. You're not just like, okay, well, okay, whatever, that'll obviously never happen, but
Well, and
you
it's
know
and the thing and this is kind of like I forgot exactly where I got this from. I'm ripping this off from somewhere, but is like the idea of like the idea of storytelling in fiction is that you're telling a lie in order to tell the truth, right? So like
Mm.
this didn't happen, right? There isn't a 2019, we didn't all turn into vampires, and there's not like a blood economy,
Not
right?
all of us, not all of us,
Not
luckily.
all of us, maybe some
Yeah,
people,
baby,
but
go in. Yeah.
but it's like, but there is real truths in there, right? Like, and one of the things that it's being a fellow Catholic, right, is
Mhm.
like even the worst person, or the even the worst and the best people, both are human, right? Like, and it doesn't mean that there isn't such a thing as justice or punishment or something, but like one of the scenes that's very telling is that scene where Ethan Hawke's brother, like where Sam Nielsen's, I'm jacking up his name.
Neil. It's
He
just Neil. It's not
Neil
Nielsen.
Neil.
That's
Hey,
not
I'm talking
Leslie
about his
Nielsen.
son, Sam
Oh,
Neil's
yeah.
son.
Oh,
But anyway,
Neil's son. Okay, yeah. You mean his
but
daughter though? He's got a daughter.
yes. So like
Yeah.
his daughter is like this, is quickly
She's
transformed into a
gorgeous, by the
monster.
way. She's absolutely gorgeous. Beautiful
Yes,
actress over there.
which is even more stark, like a stark change at the end. But she eats her own blood in defiance of her father, right? That basically
Yeah.
ruined her life, and she transforms more quickly to a monster. And then when you're seeing them burst into flames, right, being dragged down in the sun, all the transformed blood deprived monsters, or class four citizens, as they say in the movie.
Right. Right.
Right, which is
Yeah.
like the most like bureaucratic, nonchalant way to basically say monstrous poor freak that we're killing now. Um,
Right.
but like all the troops in the background are like basically like shouting like "F them," like "burn them," right? And it's because they see them as monsters, and it's because they are monsters. But that guy saw her as a human and then as a fresh vampire because he's the one that turned her. So it's like the same thing of like these people see only monsters, but they also are really about 2 weeks away from becoming that, and yet they have this disdain because of basically people like I mean, the ugly truth is they became monsters. And I think it's interesting because you'll see situations where like people like criminals, right, where like they'll carjack or maybe even kill people or like steal and stuff, and like in some ways like they do monstrous things, but also they are human. And it's kind of this thing of like, well, if you were to live in, if but for the god grace of God go I, right, is like, well, if you were blood deprived for 3 months and then you turn into a monster, like you're basically potentially in the same boat as this thing that you're cheering is going to explode in the sun. So but that's like a smart, like that's a smart movie, right? Like you don't get any multifaceted, multi-layered meanings from sinners.
Well, okay, yes, which we're going to get to that right now, actually. Which, by the way, guys, tonight, I will be all right. Don't worry
All
about
right.
me. Don't worry about me, cause can't you see I'm hanging out with my friends? What's up, Grant? We got Grant in the building. It's an inside joke, but it's okay. Don't worry about it. What's up, Grant? How are you? Good to see you. Thank you for joining in. Okay, we're gonna talk about sinners. So, okay, but just on a finishing note, I cannot wait to see this movie again. Daybreakers. Watch that movie, Daybreakers. I highly recommend this movie to anybody and everybody who likes movies, smart movies, horror movies, and vampire movies. I'm not a huge vampire movie guy, but the way they did it was very classy. It was very scary, creepy. It was smart. It was clever, and it was really funny.
And the visuals hold up too,
The
which
visuals
is
hold up really
important.
well. Yeah, absolutely. The visuals hold up, and the shots are really cool. Just viscerally, you get a reaction all the time. So, okay, so going back to Sinners, I mean, look, I tried to rewatch it just to have it fresh in my mind because I watched it when it came out in theaters. I watched it in IMAX. I tried watching it last week. I couldn't do it. It was so bad. I couldn't do it, dude. I couldn't, man. Honestly, like I couldn't do it. And I'm like, well, okay, maybe I'm missing something. Maybe the first time I saw the movie, I was in a weird mood or something. Let me try watching it again. I'm like, nope, 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 no,
I don't know how you can
no.
miss anything. The movie is like 2.5 hours long, and it takes forever to go anywhere. You have plenty of time to see everything it has.
And by the time it gets somewhere, it's like, really? Are you kidding me? Like this is what we're doing here, you
It's
know?
it's a war record breaking
Record breaking, guys.
film.
Oscar winning or Oscar about it's about to win a bunch of Oscars. I think it's gonna win
And
seven or
here's the other
10
thing too.
out of 16.
And here's the other thing too, comparing the two. So Daybreakers, it absolutely has some gore in it because it does has violence. So, fair warning that everybody who's gonna watch it, right? Like it does if you're really, really squeamish. But it's
I
purposeful.
Are we talking about
Um,
Daybreakers real quick? Is that what we're talking about?
yes.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
And
There
I'm
was some visceral
comparison.
parts where I'm like, I'm not a big violence guy too, and I'm like, oh, whoa, like, wait, I was not expecting that, but for the effect, the way they do it, it works really well for the movie. But yes,
Yes. Uh,
warning, fair warning, it is
and
gore.
it's not and if it's done for, I would say it is done for to show the brutality of the society and like what's going on and like their addiction to blood and like there is a thematic purpose to it, right? Whereas Sinners, I feel like constantly does things to try to be edgy and shock you, but they're just being inappropriate.
Okay,
Like,
yes.
okay,
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that as I pour myself a shot. Okay, don't worry about
you're probably gonna need it.
it.
Um,
Yeah, I do need it.
so this is not a spoiler alert yet. I'm just saying something I noticed. So there was many pretty graphic. Now the irony is they didn't. I don't think they actually showed any nip slips, but there was many very graphic sex scenes, and there was also 4 instances of literally like reference all the way from reference to full conversations about specific sex acts, and it's the same one they talk about 4 times, and there's no thematic purpose to it.
I know exactly what you're talking about, and it is something. It's in the very beginning, and he's like, "Yeah, girl, like, remember that time I broke you off and made you, and
Yeah,
just like
we won't get into it because
we won't have to get into it, but it was like,
it's a
what?
full conversation
I'm just like, what?
between the cousin and was it Stack, right? One of the twins. It's a
Yeah,
full conversation, and I just it, all I could think is like, why is the writer and here's the thing. I'm not going to get TMI. It is not that I do not like to amorously have relations with my wife. So it's nothing against that in particular. But why do you keep making it a full on point that you keep bringing up this specific illicit act, right? It's like to the point of like, are you just are you trying to get laid? Like, are you trying as a writer to tell women who may watch your movie, like, hey, like, I don't
right,
know.
right. Well,
It's
and that is the thing. Is like, even the woman goes, she's like, "Oh, you really did a number on me," and it's like, what? Like it just the way, and that's kind of what I was trying to tell you last week, and I'm glad you saw it now. It was I'm specifically thinking about the first conversation that him and the girl have about 25 minutes in. I think it's maybe
when they're at
pushing
the
20.
train station.
Yes, at the train station. Yeah, and I'm
Yep.
like, what? I remember at the time I'm watching this movie. I'm like, what? Like, what is this? Like, and again, did people talk like that back in the day? Did they talk? Did they talk like that? And
I found myself questioning that multiple times because, and here's the thing. I am sure that people had dirty conversations and violent conversations, and there's plenty of things where I'm like, yeah, I could picture some version of this, but that was in that time. It was like that kind of stuff still happened, but it was a lot more close to the cuff and on the down low. And there were many times where they said lines that I'm like, the only person that I could picture saying this is a recent college graduate from like Berkeley.
right, yes, thank you, thank you. I watched the Hollywood Reporter thing with Ryan Coogler, the writer director. And so she's like telling this. She's like, yeah. So was like, grew up in Oakland, and she was like doing this, and yeah, she's like, I was like traveling with my uncle, and he's like, yeah, I made a movie. And
It
I'm like,
it
dude, this guy is making a huge Hollywood movie that is getting 16 Oscar nominations. It's inspiring to me because I'm like, dude, again,
if he could do it.
if this idiot can do it, so can I. Like, this guy can't even speak English. He can't even speak. He can't even speak. I'm sorry.
So
I'm sorry. Again, look, I don't understand. Again, look, everybody is on their own path, and he probably didn't have the advantages that I had growing up. But
after
this guy,
speaking English.
but yeah, learning how to speak English. But like, he's talking, and I'm like, dude, what are you even saying? What are you?
It's
Yeah,
so so here's here's the thing. Do you want just me to break down my real quick kind of overall
please,
thing? We'll
please,
get more into the details,
let's get
obviously,
into
but
the details. Let's do it.
okay. So I'll give you my very brief kind of pros and or like good points and bad points. So my good points was this. The I actually really like the camera work and I like the scenery. I like when movies have real sets instead of just green screens and computers, right?
Yeah.
And it looked like it was real sets. The camera work was beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
I did like Michael B. Jordan's performance. I thought that he did a good job and he took himself seriously. Some of the lines, like I said, but I don't blame him for the writing. If the writing's crap, like, what are you gonna do? But he did what he could with the movie, and I think he did a good job. I think in general the actors did pretty good, and so like in the first like 30 minutes, and this will kind of dive a little. Maybe it's kind of my way to switch over to the bad things. The first 30 minutes was kind
Enough
of
about the good things. Yeah, let's get to the bad things.
the first 30 minutes was kind of interesting to watch, but it was a very different. It felt like two different movies fused together,
Yeah.
and it made everything confusing and stupid. So that now again the bad. The bad thing, one of the first bad thing is this. It was boring for the middle part. Just boring. And I kept asking my wife to stop the movie to look at the timestamp. And the
It's not a good
vampire,
sign. Not a good
the
sign.
no, the vampire didn't show up until about the hour mark. An
Yeah.
hour to introduce the villain.
I
That
thought I
is
thought it
just
was gonna.
bad writing.
I honestly thought it was an hour 15 or an hour 30
It
closer.
might be like an hour five.
Yeah. Either way.
And
Yeah.
well, that's
Yeah.
the first
Either
time
way,
you've
it's way
seen
too
him.
long, dude. Dude. You need okay. Well, I'll get to my own thing, but movie formula, you introduce a villain about 15 minutes in, so he should have been in 15 minutes in. You introduce the main conflict. That's what you freaking do. If you wait till an hour, Okay. Anyway, we'll
It's
get to that
yeah.
later.
So and we'll get to that. So the first kind of the first sin, the first
Which, by the way, Trevor, do sinners need confession? Yes. Yes. Sinner
so
needs confession.
so the first sin of any movie, whether it be bad, really bad like The Room, right, or really really good like Daybreakers,
Yeah.
or
Yes.
whatever movie,
Or
uh,
Simp or
the
Rideshare. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Or
one of my favorites.
Cat Town Story. Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Just movies,
I
random movies off the top of my head. Yeah. Yeah.
the number one sin is you can't be boring. Even if it's really bad, if it's entertaining, it's still worthwhile. The whole point is, and there's multiple points to meet to forms of entertainment media, right? Like I'm a firm believer that there's media is usually not just escapism, but you have to be interesting. You can literally have like the best moral lessons and the best characters. If it's boring, no one cares. Nobody's going to want to watch it.
Right.
And it's just not it's not a good vehicle for what you're trying to do, the other things you're trying to do. So that's one. It's very boring, and it's like going on a roller coaster, except for you're like just keep going up, and you're like, all right, is this the drop? But it never really comes, and then it comes and it's like somehow like a 5 foot drop, and you're like, I went up for like 2 miles and I had a 5 foot drop. So
Yeah, it'd be like going to Disneyland. It's like you're going up to on a roller coaster, like oh, then it's like oh,
yeah,
like,
exactly, right. It's like the end of a roller coaster when you know how like you can kind of tell the momentum is going down, and you're like, maybe there's one last good hill and then dive, and then like it's basically a bunny slope, right? It's like nothing. So
right.
so that's the first one. The second issue that I have is the characters do things that are abhorrently stupid for no good reason. Like, and then we'll get maybe
Yeah,
a
yeah.
little bit of
Go on. Yes.
little spoiler alert, just a little spoiler alert. The scene when they're in the barn and the Chinese lady yells, and that causes the next part of the plot, right? Where shit hits the fan. It's insanely stupid. She's worried about her daughter, right? And she's like, well, what if they get my daughter and make her a vampire, right? Why would you not just try and sneak? Like they're in the woods. Why don't you just try and sneak around them then to go get your daughter and tell her, hey, just don't invite them in. Um, but instead, she basically dooms them all. Like right, that's what happens. Like all the
Well, do,
preparation
do you know why? Do you know why she doesn't do that? Why? Do you know why?
is it's a terrible writer.
Because that would make too much sense if she
Yes,
actually did that. That would make too much
and
sense.
and also there's and once again, like this is kind of general vampire lore, so I don't think this is too much of a spoiler. But like vampires and vampire lore, there's a bunch of lore, but like one of the things in historically is that vampires can only come in when they're invited, right? Like
Right.
that's part of vampire lore. It's not always showing up in movies and stuff, but and
Oh,
like
sorry. Real quick. The
yes,
Daybreakers, when that vampire broke into his house, that was a visceral reaction. Like I was like,
Well, Ethan
whoa.
Hawke was scared. He was like, "What the?"
Yeah, he was scared, and he reacted exactly how I would have reacted because he's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, what?
Well, once again,
What?"
and seeing vampires be scared is something you don't usually see in vampire movies.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and there's those levels of vampires. Okay, anyway, going back.
So anyway,
And wait, hold on. That vampire with the bat and the wings and everything, that was so cool the way they did
oh
that.
yeah,
Oh my gosh. Like this movie, I can't okay, we're sorry. All right.
okay,
Daybreakers though is incredible, guys. Guys, I love
you should go watch it.
guys, go watch it. I'm okay, real quick. I'm going to say this. It's a top 10 movie for me now. Top 10 of movies I've ever
Wow,
of any movie I've ever seen in my entire life. It's there. It's that good. I loved it. I enjoyed it so much. There's a lot of factors that go into me rating a movie, but
hey,
enjoyability is a big
that
one.
that
And
means that when you are a multimillionaire with like a giant studio, and somebody asks you in an interview, a Barbara Walters style interview. So, what was your inspiration? What was some of your inspiration? You say, my
I'm gonna
friend
say
Annie.
uncanny, uncanny. I open up
He
that
showed
can.
me my one of my favorite movies, that inspired all these massive hits and made me millions.
Yes, and it's all thanks to Uncanny. By the way, buy the Uncanny soda, which might be a real thing
Dude,
in the future.
I'm buying that if you make it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. Sounds good to me. Let's do it. Let's do
Um,
it. Okay.
and
All right. All
I
right.
so it's so to recap, it's boring. It makes characters do things that make no sense and go against the what's been established as their personalities. The other thing is, and this one's a personal one, but it happens so often that it makes me upset. Upset's maybe a little much of a word, but it frustrates me. As you know, I'm a huge history like lover. Like I read
Yeah.
about history every day. I know obscure stuff that most people would be like, "Oh, I'm going to go to sleep now because I've heard this," right? And the thing that's so frustrating, and I am Irish by heritage, right? I'm 100% American, but I am Irish by heritage.
Okay.
And
What percentage are Irish, by the way?
I refuse to give my DNA to
Okay. All right.
ancestry.com.
Fine. Never mind. All
Let's
right.
just go
Fine.
with
Fine.
1000%. I'm sure that's
A
pretty
thousand.
accurate.
Okay. Okay. That's accurate. Yeah. Yeah. Sounds good.
Um so like there is this parallel between the Irish zombie, or sorry, I keep saying zombie. The Irish vampire, who's the main protagonist. Well, okay, semi the main protagonist, because we're gonna get to another piece happens at the end that's super
Which I
dumb.
can't wait. By the way, I can't wait to talk about
It's
this. Yeah.
I just I you next time we go to Sizzlers, you can ask my wife. I was actually like started anger ranting about how frustrating that part was. I'm sure you know it's after the sun comes up at the end and what happens with Michael B. Jordan. Um,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
anyway, so when people now I understand like history is complicated. There's no clean 100% narrative, right? Like there's a whole like whenever you have people, like it's complicated, especially when we can't talk to people and get more insights, right? But that being said, there is a difference between all slightly altered or maybe even somewhat altered history for the sake of movies, right? Or entertainment. That's okay, I understand, right? I love
Yeah.
my historical dramas. But there's a difference between that and just blatant falsified narratives of propaganda that were created like 20 years ago or maybe even 1 year ago. And it's basically meant to completely distort reality for the sake of telling you lies, not for the sake of conveying larger truths through fantasy or fiction, but to basically tell you bullshit. And there is this one part, and this part is because of what it is in particular is very unforgivable for me because of who I am personally. Is there is this parallel that's made, right? Which the parallel is made. It first starts with Delta Slim, who in general I liked his character, except that was kind of funny. But there's this part where he talks about how basically the white man forced Christianity on black people, and which by the way very insulting to black people. But aside from that, right, and you can understand Delta Slim, he's a cynical kind of guy, right? He's like a drunk guy, he's been through stuff. But then there's this whole rant by the Irish zombie, who I had to look this up because they didn't tell you anything about the zombie's history, right? They don't tell you anything about the antagonist. Is he's from pre-Christian Ireland, which for anyone listening don't know much about Irish history, was from about 1,500 years ago,
Oh,
and
is
he
that
taught.
all?
Yeah, I know, right?
Oh.
By the way, and his credential for being Irish and being ancient is that he sings. He does a jig to the Rocky Road to Dublin, which was made in the 1800s. Um, so this movie's in the 1930s, which means it would have been made about 40 to 50 years before that. Um,
Wow.
so so he talks about like, oh yes, they came, they came and they forced their religion on us, and they came and they destroyed our culture and they took our lands. And but the problem is this is the Irish were never conquered by the Romans. Like the Romans were basically like, yeah, there's nothing for us on that island except for a bunch of crazy savages, which not an
So
inaccurate
Irish people.
estimation.
So Irish people is
I was gonna say, I mean, we still might be a little bit. Um, but so the Romans didn't conquer Ireland. The Irish actually became Catholic, or just at the time it would just been Christian, by their own volition. They voluntarily became Christian, and they converted very quickly, and they did it. I mean, and they became the most basically like religious part of Europe for hundreds of years, and they were actually famous for saving manuscripts and writings from the early church fathers, and they actually for hundreds of years in the medieval period having an Irish monk or priest in your court, if they're like you were French or German or something, was seen as like a big thing because they were so knowledgeable and wise theologically. So when this
Wow.
Irish vampire is like, they came and they forced their religion on us, it's like, well, that didn't happen. Oh, they took our lands. Who? The Normans? But the Normans didn't come for like 600 years and after you were a vampire. It's just like, and now I'm gonna make a family. So you spent 1,500 years as an Irish vampire, and you just came to the American South, showed up in the middle of Mississippi one day, and said, "Oh, this is gonna be a wee bit of a crack. Like it's time to make me family here. I'm definitely not gonna do it in Ireland where all the Irish people are." Like, what? It's ahistoric, and like as a historian, I'm fine nitpicking bad history for entertainment. It is blatantly set up to be like the moral of the story is that the oppressed can become the oppressors of new people. The Irish didn't come to the United States until like basically a generation before then, and we're still basically iced out for the most part. It's completely ahistoric. It's just so dumb, dude. And like that's a pet peeve of mine. I recognize that most people don't care about history, but thank you, Trevor. I practice my Irish accent usually when drinking. So I just okay. So those are my overall gripes. So you know, I and we didn't even get into what happens in the end because we didn't do a spoiler alert. But
But
like
other than that, it's a great movie.
record breaking great movie. And like I'm just like, and here's the thing, I don't mean to break into stereotypes, right? But something about that writer director, I guess he one is not very knowledgeable about Irish history, which is fine.
I don't think it's
But
knowledgeable about anything. Okay, anyway, go ahead. I
I mean,
don't. I
yeah,
don't.
I don't think he's really
I don't think
knowledgeable.
he's very
Yeah,
smart. I don't think he's very smart. He's kind of an idiot. But okay.
he
Anyway.
he he did build in an entire plot based off of propaganda you can learn after walking around San Francisco for 2 days.
Right. That's true. You're right. You're absolutely right. Yeah.
But yeah, so that's my overall. And one last thing. I'll just kind of the point where it becomes boring is this. The first
The
half.
whole first second of the movie.
No, it's
Sorry.
actually the middle. It's actually the middle part.
The poor
Oh,
become.
it's like the middle 50%.
Okay.
Which is supposed to be the exciting parts of a movie.
Right.
Um, that's like the first hour of the movie is like a movie. I forgot what the movie is, but like it's like how there's a genre of movie where it's like basically about like either the antebellum South or it's about like the Jim Crow South, and it's
Right.
basically
Yeah, no, I actually liked the first. I will give it. I do like the first 45 minutes, maybe an hour
yes,
total of the movie. I do like that. I like the world building. I like them, fish out of water. They're back in or they're back into their own town and I do like that setting. I will give it that. I do like that a lot. And you get sucked into that world like, oh, this is interesting. Oh, okay, we got some twin brothers here. They have a reputation and they're here,
yeah,
and
like if it's a like the first hour of the movie, which by the way is not even half because it's so long. Um,
yes, 2.5 hours.
uh,
Gosh.
is a movie. Okay, if you don't consider the whole part where like at the beginning they talk about like basically magic music shaman and vampires, right? Like if you ignore that intro part, that movie, the first hour is basically a movie of like it's basically this a movie about two brothers who basically are like trying to reestablish themselves and come back home, right? Like almost like a prodigal son kind of, maybe like a twist of the prodigal son kind of story, right? And it's interesting, but the problem is the first scene where it talks about music shaman and vampires makes me expect to see a vampire, right? Like
Right. Yeah.
that's the problem, and it makes me think that, and this is just me kind of mind reading, right? This I don't know for sure, but it makes it feel like the writer director guy that he basically wanted to make a movie about racism and Jim Crow,
It-
but
yes.
he
So
couldn't
sorry,
get the
you said
money
the
unless he made it also have vampires.
yes. Yes. You said the quiet about part out loud. That's exactly what it was, and it is something there. It's like, yeah, if it's a vampire movie, it should be a vampire movie and not about other things. But again, this is why these movies get awards. Again, this is why, because they reach for these types of awards. If they're going for this type of uh, political
Yes.
feel, they can easily get these awards, and not for merit, not for being a good movie, just because they're about a certain political thing that political people want to acknowledge them and congratulate them and give them awards for no reason about. And that's what it is. Again, so that's why Sinners has 16 Academy Award nominations when it honestly doesn't deserve it. It doesn't. And I wish it, and again, I wish if it did, I would say, "Oh yeah, this is a great movie." But it doesn't deserve it. And we have to have our movies based on merit, not just based on political
Well,
vibes and
and
point.
here's the thing: there is, and I'm a firm believer that some of the best art also had politics in it. So like
Oh,
it
absolutely.
but
Absolutely.
it needs to, but like the difference is that it needs to be more than just propaganda. Like, and
Right.
that's the thing is, and so have you ever seen the movie The Help? Came out in 2011. It's about basically like, I think it might
No.
be
No.
no.
No. I know what you're talking about. That's not a type of movie. I'm
Okay.
rushing to
No,
watch. Oh
no,
yeah, let's watch that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know
but
what you
my
mean
point,
though.
yeah, but my point being is like the this movie seemed like a bad vampire movie fused with a bad version of The Help, right? Because like in The Help, like, and here's a direct scene comparison. And once again, this is no spoilers here. This is just like lines and stuff. Is so in The Help, right? Like the whole thing of The Help is like the black maid servant I think she's a slave. I can't remember if it's before or after slavery. But she like basically raises this young white girl, right? And she basically is like a surrogate mother, and the girl's actual mother is like a bitch, right? So
Mm.
like she's like a terrible mom, and like she basically at some point gets fired, or yeah, I think it was post Civil War. So I think she gets fired, and she like the whole thing is like this girl is like such a has such a kind heart, and you can even see how like how her kind heart could be kind of morphed into being hateful, right? And like how this black woman is seen as like lesser, but she's actually this really good mom to this girl that's not even her mom or her daughter, and
Right.
may someday grow up to hate her, right? um and so it's like it's this very human thing where it's like it's a smart approach to some very difficult social topics, right? Where you're like, there's humanizing like things that happen even for the quote unquote like people who are bad people or people who are like treating other people terrible. There is a scene in Sinners. So they have this white woman who has like she's basically a jilted lover of one of the Michael B. Jordan twins, right?
Of course, she is. Yeah, they,
And
they
it
all are
turns
apparently. They all are. You know.
And it turns out that she's a quarter. Hey, what are you chewing on? Eh.
Are you talking
Oh
to your wife?
no.
No, I'm kidding. Sorry, sorry. Bad joke. Bad joke. Sorry.
um.
Sorry, wife. Sorry, wife. I won't say that.
Eh. No, I'm talking to
Yeah.
my dog.
The
Anyway,
dog.
sorry. Stupid dog's chewing on something. Anyway, so the white lady who's the jilted lover of the main character,
Right.
um, she goes on this whole thing about how she's secretly a quarter black. So, one, don't worry. We don't need the moral outrage of a white woman dating a black guy. Right? She's a quarter black, so she's black just passing as white. But also, she literally shouts, I never wanted to be white. And she is, I'm not kidding you, the only character, the only white character that is not absolutely racist. And I don't mean like a joke on Twitter. I mean like literally KKK racist. Like actively trying to and it's like the one character and the only other white people are literally clans members, like the two who get turned into vampires, and then this Irish vampire who's literally killing all these innocent people. And it's like this is just it's it's dehumanizing, right? Like it's like look at how evil all these people are for dehumanizing. It's like, yeah, but you're also dehumanizing because I'm just gonna say it. Surprise, surprise. People are complicated, and some people who hold bad beliefs or do bad things may also not be completely evil. And some people don't buy into that at all. So it's just like I said, it's just like propaganda. It's not even attacking like not attacking, but like approaching the issue in a smart human way.
Well,
It's like a
which by the
Soviet
way,
propaganda about how evil some people are.
which going back to Daybreakers, Daybreakers takes political issues and makes them very they dial them down and they make it so the audience can absorb them in their own way and come up to their own conclusions.
Yes.
When you talk about Sinners and one battle after another is the same exact thing. It's the same exact thing. People watch this movie, they don't realize they're watching propaganda. You are
No.
watching propaganda that is brainwashing you to thinking a certain thing. And
And
people,
there's only one message in that. There is no interpretation. It's very
exactly.
clear.
Right. It's very clear. They push it on you. It's and the same thing. I'm the same way with a lot of Hallmark movies or Christian movies where they're like, hey, did you know sinning is a bad thing? Right?
What you
Talking
hate
about sin.
saving the farm?
Right. Yeah.
That's like the plot of every single Hallmark
Yeah.
movie.
They
They
always
were
have to
gonna
say,
save the
yeah.
farm
Yeah, we gotta
or
save
save
the
Christmas.
farm. We're all out of milk, and the cowboy is the most handsome man in town, but he's still single somehow. And the girl from the
He's
city,
but
the
he's
girl
kind of
from the
maybe a
city,
bad guy, but he has a heart of gold, and then he's gonna
right?
save the farm.
Yeah, and that's the same thing where it's what we've been talking about before, maybe in other conversations, but where it's not so obvious that, hey guys, like, did you guys know you should be rooting for this team? You should be voting for this way, right? When you're outwardly saying it, it doesn't. To me, it never hits the same.
Well,
It
and it's the reason why, right? Is like there's one movie like Daybreakers, and it's Daybreakers. There is, and once again,
Well,
I'm a
no, sorry,
sucker.
sorry, sorry. I thought of a different movie called that's like Daybreakers.
Huh?
You know what it's called?
What?
Daybreakers.
This
No.
guy, you had me at the beginning,
This guy. No, no,
but
no. Actually,
like
actually, no,
every
no. Actually, no. It really did. Equilibrium, guys. I think it's
okay,
the same. You need to watch Equilibrium because you'll watch this movie and you'll be like, oh, wow, this is very similar to Daybreakers because it is dystopian type future movie in a big budget but a small budget at the same time, not a huge budget. So some things might look a little bit campy at times, which Daybreakers did at some times, but it didn't seem like it held back though. And Equilibrium is very similar. So I think you will
all right,
really like that movie. And yeah, we can watch and talk about it. But yeah, I
sure,
mean, but
but
again, like for sinners, it's like when you learn how the Academy Awards work and how they want to award certain movies for doing certain things, and you just learn how it is, right? So it of course it makes sense that
well,
they
and here's the thing. This is the test, and I actually, sadly, you can also use this test on people. Often is it if you start watching a movie, and I don't mean that like you thought about the twist logically and you got it, but if you start watching a movie and you just know what all the characters are going to talk about, and you know what they're going to say, and you know who's going to be the bad guy, and you know who's going to be the good guy, and you're going to know what their faults are and what the good message is and what the bad message is, then it's just propaganda. And like, and that's the thing is like, as much as I am a sucker for the save the farm plot of all or lifetime movies, I'm a sucker for it. And like,
yeah, of
I get it,
course, yeah, yeah,
but
we don't get sucked into it, yeah.
but there's a reason why every single time or lifetime movie and Hallmark movie are basically the same and predictable. Like it's because that's what it is. It's
Because people
basically
are
just
predictable. People are predictable. That's
it's
true.
just it's just the same. Well, it's just the same story, right? And like, and that's why when you think of like high quality movies, you're not thinking Lifetime,
No,
like,
I'm not
and
thinking
that's
sinners either. I'm not thinking sinners
no.
either. No,
Well,
I'm
that's
thinking.
well. The difference is the Sinners is breaking Oscar records, and Lifetime is what written off as like Grandma Channel.
Yeah, but at the same time though, Hallmark Channel and Lifetime are they there is a certain place for them, and people they do have some certain level of credibility. And
Oh yeah.
I say my movie Simp is kind of like a R-rated Lifetime movie, and I will say that, like, I openly admit that it is. It kind of is. Can you agree, Jesse or
No,
Uncanny?
I've never watched any
No.
Lifetime movie like Simp.
Oh, okay, never mind then. Well, but I mean, it's like it's a woman in distress. A lot of these Lifetime movies are like, oh yeah, it's a woman who gets beaten and kidnapped and yeah. Anyway,
I
all
think
right.
you're watching HBO instead of Lifetime, my friend.
No,
Um,
dude. Lifetime has some of these. Okay, okay. Like, so I'm gonna prove a point real quick.
all right.
What? And you cannot Google this. No one here
Okay.
can Google this. And I'm gonna give you 5 seconds. What movie won Best Picture award 3 years ago, 2023? Cannot Google it. Do not Google it. Five,
Was it the one
five, four,
with the
three,
Korean mom?
2, 1, 0. Okay, you're thinking about. I think you're thinking about. Um. Uh. Uh.
It's like Lifetime of something, or
No,
it's where she travels to different versions of her life or something like that.
Oh, you're thinking about. Uh. Every Which Way Now. What is it called?
Yes, that one.
Yeah.
Whatever
Okay.
it's called.
No. So 3 years ago, Coda. Coda won.
What's
Does
What's
anybody
Coda?
know what Coda is? Does anybody know what Coda is? No, you don't. You morons. You idiots. Oscars do not matter. Coda won 3 years ago. Does anybody know what the hell that movie is?
No.
No, they don't. they literally don't. Hey, by the way, best director went to Jane Campion for The Power of the Dog. Did you guys? Oh, The Power of the Dog. Everyone knows that movie,
What?
right?
Are you
No.
just
Oh
are
wait.
you
Oh,
making these names up?
yeah. You think I would be? I'm reading this right here. Best actor was Will Smith for King Richard, which was that tennis movie. I do remember that movie. Best actress was Jessica Chastain, The Eyes of Tammy Faye. Who else watched The Eyes of Tammy Faye? Who else watched it? We're all big fans of The Eyes of Tammy Faye, right? Everybody here in the room? Eyes of Tammy Faye. Everyone.
I haven't Googled it because you told me not to, but I'm not thoroughly convinced that these are real movies.
Well, exactly. Isn't this hilarious? So I'm going to show you my screen right now. Right now. And look at this. 94th Academy Award, 3 years. Coda, Best Picture winner. Best Director, Jane Campion. Not Champion, Campion. The Power of the Dog.
What
Best
does that
actor.
even mean?
It's a movie, apparently. Dude, it's like, dude, again, my point being, in 3 years, Sinners is going to be nothing, dude. It's nothing. You know what I mean? It's nothing. We're talking about it right now, and that's cool. Like, hey, good for Sinners and good for Michael B. Jordan and everyone. But
I mean, people got paid. You know,
yeah,
good for
people get
them.
paid. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, good for them. Hey, they get paid. But look, Dune. Okay, Encanto, dude. So people don't remember this, dude. And again, like I always say, I set the standard at myself, and that sounds really selfish, but I'm a I'm I love movies. I study movies. I watch a lot of movies. I'm the standard that I set for myself. Do I remember these movies from 3 years ago, Coda?
Well,
No.
and
No.
and the thing too is like, all right, so okay, we still haven't done the spoiler alert and haven't actually gone into the plot. So we've just been basically,
Yeah,
it's like
spoiler
a
alert.
it's
Yeah.
you know like when beached whales die and like everything eats them for like everything floods them, right? I feel like that's basically what Sinners is like there's so many easy low hanging fruit and easy targets that like you don't need to spoil the terrible plot in order even to talk about it for a while. But
Dude, it's a crappy vampire movie, by the way. From Dusk Till Dawn came out 30 years ago, literally 30 years ago, and that's a better movie than Sinners. And that
but
came out 30 years ago. So Sinners like borrowed heavily from Dusk Till Dawn.
all right, but yeah, so all right, so I'm just gonna give a brief overview of the plot. So spoiler alert, and then we can kind of get into more details. So all right, one last time, spoiler alert. So go if you okay, I can't
Guys,
say you
spoiler
should go watch
alert.
Sinners, but
Spoiler. Don't watch Sinners, but yeah.
if you do already have a subscription to HBO Max and watch it for free like I did, so you don't have to pay for it. So the basic plot of the movie is this. There is two brothers that are both Michael B. Jordan because they're twins. And
Michael Jordan is both characters. Michael Jordan.
yes,
Okay, sorry.
because they're twins, right? And they one wears a blue hat, and that's how you know he's Smoke, and then the other one wears a red hat, and that's how you know it's a different character. Um, so
Smoke and
Stack,
Stack, right?
Smoke Stack, yeah.
Yeah. Which is
Um,
oh wow, that's so ironic, guys. By the way, it's so Oh my
I,
gosh, that's so edgy. That's so edgy, guys. Smoke and stack, guys. Oh my gosh.
so what happens is this is long story short, they are cousins to a the main character whose name I forget because it's
Not
Sammy,
important.
right?
Not. It's not
Samuel.
important.
Okay, thank you. My wife came in clutch with her because I can remember his name. Really isn't important. But so Sammy, he is the son of a preacher man, like in the song, the old song. Um, oh, down to
Son of a
heaven,
preacher
that's
boy.
how the preacher
Yeah.
man. So, so Sammy has a guitar that was given to him when he was younger by his cousins. His
You're
cousins.
giving you're giving way too much detail. I mean,
All right,
okay.
all right.
Anyways,
I'll
sorry.
go another couple, three
No, no, no.
levels
This
up.
is good. This is good. This is good.
Okay.
No, it's good.
So
It's good. But it's like this is too much to even like.
yeah,
This is.
it's
Does anyone
it's
even
more than
care?
you
No.
need. No.
Oh yeah, yeah,
So
no.
okay, two guys leave hometown Mississippi, go to Chicago. They get into the gangster game. They steal a bunch of money and come back to Mississippi, their home. They set up a blues music drinking club,
Yep.
and then their younger cousin wants to be a blues player,
Right.
and his dad's against it because his dad's a preacher, a Christian preacher. Then also, and so the two brothers basically go around town getting people interested in their club that's opening that night, and also kind of rekindling these relationships with people that they knew. Then a group of Native Americans hunt down an Irishman who then gets taken in by these two hick white people that are also clan
obviously,
members.
obviously, all the white people are Hicks and clan members at the same time.
Yes. And then and also they're the daughter-in-law and son of the white guy who sold them the old sawmill where they're going to build their club, who happens to be the grand wizard of the KKK in their town.
Right. Right.
Um, even though
Which by
there's
the
no
which by the way, I'm the Grey Knight at the Knights of Columbus. But
very very different grand night.
anyway, very different. Correct.
So, but and there's no foreshadowing for this, by the way, that's given that this guy who's selling them the old sawmill is actually the grand knight of the KKK. Anyway, so then the Irish guy turns the two white people, two clans member Hicks, into vampires, and
Yeah.
then the vampires go to their club at night and they say, "We'll pay you in gold if you let us in." And the hook being that vampires can't go inside unless you invite them in. So that's like the thing. And they figured out pretty early on, right? So like then they trick them into letting a vampire in, and then they infect people, and then they figure out, oh well, as long as we don't invite them in, we can just wait until sunup. And then the Chinese lady whose husband went outside to get the car turned into a vampire, and then she said, "But what about my daughter?" And then she invited them all by shouting, I'm gonna butcher the exact quote, but effectively, come in here, you MNFers." And then they broke through the barn, and instead of all of them attacking quickly, like has been shown, they slowly zombie mob up to people so that not everyone dies instantly, which is what would have happened if they were true to the type of vampire that they were shown earlier. And then Michael B. Jordan, there's a twist. See, there's a big twist. So they end up. So the main character Sammy throws his guitar into the Irish vampire's head, which causes all the vampires to stun in pain. Then all the vampires collectively forget that the sun is coming up in 30 seconds, and they all burst into flames instead of going into the barn that's literally 5 yards away.
Right.
Except for two zombies, the one quarter black, I don't want to be white lady, who's not a zombie, vampire, and one of the Michael B. Jordan twins. Um, so I'll get back to them. So then the next scene is that one of the Michael B. Jordan twins smoke. All of the Ku Klux Klan people show up the next morning for some reason.
Of course they do. Right. Yeah. Yeah. For some
And
reason that is not explained, but of course,
and,
because they're
and then
racist.
it turns out that Smoke and Stack, the two brothers, were in World War I, and then he sets up a a an ambush, and he single-handedly spends the next 10 minutes um shooting at KKK white guys, and then he dies, and then it goes, and then Sammy goes back to his dad in the middle of the church service, all bloodied from fighting vampires. And then the choice is he going to drop the half the guitar that he still had after bashing it into the Irish vampire and killing him, or and accept God, or is he going to keep the devil's guitar? Um, and then it goes flash forward, and he's an old man, and it's him, and he's playing tells of the scar on his face, and he's playing blues on his guitar, and then Stack's vampire and the three-quarter white lady, who are vampires, come up to him, and instead of it being a horrific moment, they like catch up like they're old buddies, and then they're like, "Hey, you want to be a vampire?" And he's like, I'm good." And then they leave, and that's it. But he's like happy about it, right? It's like all of his friends and multiple of his family members were killed by these horrific monster vampires, and he's like, well, whatever." Um, and that's the movie. That's the plot.
And that's a 16 Oscar nominated feature film on this is what this is. This is an incredible. Oh my gosh. 16 nominations for a feature film. I mean, it's like wow. Just
And
wow.
here's the thing, and like I mean, I'm not like a moral panic Susie or nothing, right? But it is odd to me that you have 16 Oscars going to this movie, and there is, like I said, a whole like 10-minute scene of Michael B. Jordan just shooting like 30 white dudes, but it's okay to do basically like what amounts to an ethnic mass killing because they're KKK members because we made them that.
Right.
As
And
all
all white people or KKK
all
members.
of the white
Yeah,
people
all of them.
that they
Yeah.
get almost more than one
Just
second of screen time are
yes.
literally KKK members, except for
Yes.
the one quarter black white girl who renounces her race. And once
Right.
again, it's like, listen, if you want to have that, if that writer has like what I would may or may not have racially motivated power fantasies about murdering people of other races, I don't know. I don't know the man's heart and soul, but it certainly seems strange to me that the Oscars saw that movie with that scene, and I'm just thinking like, if you had a scene in a movie and like the white dude goes into like south side of Chicago, and then you just make 50 black dudes all crips, and then send a 10-minute scene of shooting a bunch of people gleefully, I would be like, that's kind of weird. And I think that the Oscars would be like, yeah, we're not giving this a single award. It seems very strange to me.
Very odd to say the least. And if you were to put those shoes on the other feet, yeah, it does look really awkward. But hey, look, we are at movie night, the night where we talk about movies, and it is something where we're not beholden to the Hollywood, the way they want things to be. And I learned very quickly about 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 Hollywood and about how award shows work and about how they want people to they'll just nominate certain people because they just want them to show up to the award show so they can get more views. And excuse me, it's a very interesting thing. It's a very interesting thing, and the way it works is I'm just like, look, I'm sorry, excuse me, fuck Hollywood, dude, fuck Hollywood. I don't give a shit about Hollywood, dude. I'm in Northern California, dude. I'm in Northern California, dude. I'm Tremain Hayhoe. Fuck Hollywood. And I'm in Northern California, guys. We're making our own Hollywood up here because I don't give a crap about anyone. I just well, I care about people. Okay, all right, I care about people,
You don't
but
care about the SoCal coastal snobs that.
yeah,
I,
exactly. And like, I don't care. Look, I care about making good movies. Okay, I care about stories that are important. That's what I care about. That's all I care about. Right? So whether it's Southern California, Northern California, I don't give a shit, dude. I'm Tremaine Hayhoe, and you can Google me, and that's fine. You don't have to, but please don't.
hey,
But
hey, they're gonna Michael B. Jordan you, man.
oh, great! I hope they do, because then I'll get all these Oscar awards for no reason. Yeah, that'd be awesome. Look, I like Michael B. Jordan a lot. He's a great, talented actor. Sinners is a good movie. It's not actually. I'm joking about that, but you know, Michael B. Jordan is a good actor, right? So I don't
Oh
want to
yeah,
fault. I don't want to fault him for that. And again, the people that are in it, but Ryan Coogler is completely
he's a
overrated.
terrible writer,
He's a
and
terrible writer. He's a terrible director too. I'm sorry. And then the way he talks too, if you watch him talk, it's like, am I listening to a person that's all mentally there? I literally ask myself that question. Trying to
well,
I'm not joking, dude. I listened to him. I'm like, okay.
well, and
Oh.
here's the thing too, right? It's like, okay, let's take out the whole scene about like the what he does at the end with the ambush stuff, right? If we just take that out, right? The end is well, one, it's very, and this movie is clearly
Anti-white.
well, that, yes,
Oh
absolutely.
yeah, obviously. Obviously. Yeah.
But it's also very anti-Christian, because
Yeah.
if you notice, they equate Christianity with imperialism, right? That, I mean, and subjugation. That's what literally what they did. And we already, I won't touch on it
Uh,
again because I already,
yeah.
I already talked about the Irish history stuff. But like, they're basically completely making up history in order to try and make some sort of anti-Christian point, which, whatever, that's is what it is. Like, if that's how he feels, that's how he feels. But the thing is like, the, the ending is very strange. It doesn't make any sense. If I was in Samuel's shoes, right? Like, let's say I'm being generous, I'm putting myself in the shoes of the protagonist. I literally saw these vampires murder all of the people that I know and love. Worst night of my life, right? And then I see one and I'm like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to just drink some whiskey and hang out with them and talk about the good old days. The night when I witnessed the woman that I loved, and all my friends that I liked, and all my friends and family get brutally murdered. I'm going to be like, "Ah, yeah, that day was started with a lot of hope." It's like, what? And like, that's the thing is like, you can't. That's another kind of it's not as big of a sin as like being boring, because that's like the number one,
Sinners.
right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well, there's more than one sin in this movie.
Yeah, there's multiple.
Sinners.
Yeah,
um
sinners needs confession. Okay,
but the you don't want to confuse and shock your audience. And I don't mean that in like a good shock, or like wow, this twist was really interesting and I had to, watch it again, or I had to think about it. I
yeah.
mean, tonally, right? Like, if I'm watching Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, and then I see a scene where Bill's mother gets brutally like assaulted, and not in
Raped.
like a,
Yeah.
yeah, like, right, like if I see that, I'm gonna be like, what? What is this movie doing? What, like, I don't understand. You're going against the entire theme that you've said, and especially if it was like the ending, like instead of being like Sam Medina's, like we have
Right.
here, right? It's like, oh, actually, Attila the Hun that they brought back for their history report went and savagely beat to death Bill's mother. You'd be like, what kind of ending is this? This was a good old buddy romp, right? And that's what Sinners does, is like ignoring the whole Michael B. Jordan scene at the end. Just the end with the main character Samuel. You're like, so like his like his lifestyle led, like the whole thing of like associating the blues and like the bar scene, or like the bar, right, with basically what happened that night. So he chooses to embrace um the evil,
Culture. Right.
and then like becomes buddy buddy with these vampires that are functionally evil souls in his loved ones' bodies. Eh, It's just it's so shocking, and not in like a new like a avant-garde way. I mean, like in a, this doesn't make any sense, and this seems to be destroying and unwrapping your whole narrative that you've been building up for 2 hours, two and a half
Yes.
hours.
Yeah.